How about self-care? How about taking care of yourself? That's what we're going to talk about this morning, talking about self-care. At some point in our lives, we have to grab a hold of. We can only care for others when we begin to care for ourselves. But how do we do that? That's what we're talking about this morning. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday morning. Happy Friday. I like to call it Happy Friday. This is, thank goodness, thank God, it is Friday. How are you, Miss Audrey? How are you? Tony, how are you guys doing on this morning? What a wonderful morning it is. Valerie, how are you all on this morning? Good to see you on this morning. Mabel, how are you on this morning? Diane, how are you? Hey, what a wonderful morning. What do you do to take care of yourself? That's what we're going to talk about this morning. Before I get into that, let me just tell you this little quick story here. I remember when I was in the military and we had to learn what we call buddy care. Buddy care was when you were in war, you had to have ATSO, the ability to survive and operate. In order to have ability to survive and operate, you had to make sure that you could do buddy care. In other words, if your buddy was wounded, how do you care for them? You became the medic until the medic could come. You had to care for yourself. Leave no one behind. That is the philosophy of the U.S. military. But how can you care for others if you have not taken care of yourself? That's what we're going to talk about this morning. Good morning, Edith. Good morning, Pamela. Tiffany, how are you all on this morning? Got a word for you on this morning. But before we get into that, I want to ask the question, what are you going to do this weekend? You're going to church? Where are you going? And are you going or are you going to watch? Put that in the chat area. Put that in the chat area. And has this week's manna blessed you? Now, yesterday I dealt with Nikki this whole thing about tithe. There's so much talk about tithe. And I want to invite you to watch yesterday's morning man. It was a little bit longer than normal. But I really want to encourage you to check it out. This weekend at New Life, I got a word. Last Sunday, I dressed up in a fisherman's costume. You don't know what I'm going to dress up in and be this Sunday. All you need to do is show up. This morning, let's get right into it. 5 minutes or less, self-care. The text to talk, the takeaway, 3 things about the text that we're going to share, and then we're going to give you a takeaway about that. Here it is, Matthew 14:23 and Luke 6:12. Matthew 14:23 and Luke 6:12. This is Jesus. This is the context of what is going on in the Gospels. After he had sent them away, he went up on the mountain to pray. Luke 6:12, in those days, Jesus went out to the mountain to pray. Have you ever noticed how Jesus steals away sometimes? I believe Jesus has some lessons to share with us with respect to self-care. We like to look at the divinity of Jesus and not the humanity of Jesus, because I believe that the divinity could not operate fully if the humanity was not at its best. And in order for the humanity of Christ to be at his best, Jesus had to, you got it, take care of himself. And how did he do that? I want you to look at 3 things. Recognize, retreat, and restore. Recognize, retreat, and restore. You have to have a self-awareness, and I believe that Jesus had a self-awareness. Notice the number of times, we often overlook it, the number of times that Jesus simply said, I need a minute to myself. I need a minute to myself. You would think, and I believe you can make an argument, was Jesus an introvert? Now here we have introvert, extrovert. Extroverted people work themselves or work their situations out very openly, and they feed off of others. Introverted people work their situations out within themselves, away from people. They are drained by people. Could Jesus be an introvert because he sent them away? Notice the number of times after Jesus dealt with a crowd, he stealed away. He retreated. He retreated. You have to take some time to yourself. You have to take some time to yourself and do three things under this. Second thing is you have to pray, you have to get in his presence, and you have to reflect. Effective leaders are reflective thinkers. Let me share that again. Reflective leaders, successful leaders, are reflective thinkers. They then review what their decisions have been, the impact that it has had on others. I believe this about Christ. Remember, before he would pick the 12, he stealed away. He was reflected. There was a lot of people following him, but before the 12 got picked, Jesus had to have some prayer time, some presence in God's time, and reflective time. He retreated. He recognized. The third thing is he restored. He recharged his batteries. And you have to know what recharges your batteries. What recharges your batteries? What brings about restoration for you? Now, for me, I'm an extrovert. There's no question about that. There ain't even no thought about that. But I do still need restoration time. And for me, a personal situation here is that I like to listen to music. I like to read. I like to think. And I like to eat sweets. How about that? How about that? That's what, when I want to be restored, I want to think. I want to listen to music. I want to read. And I want a little something sweet to eat. What's your takeaway this morning? Your takeaway is this: care for yourself before you try to care for others, because an empty cup pours no water. Care for yourself before you try to care for others, because an empty cup can pour no water. The Lord be with you today. May his face shine upon you and give you peace. I'll see you Sunday at 10 o'clock, New Life Tube 1 or Facebook Live. Got a word for you on this morning as we charge and move forward to the 31st of this month, when we're going to be praise and party in the park with Molly music and reaching the lost for cause of Christ. God be with you. Share the man and don't keep it to yourself. Bye now.